Okay, David, it's time to get going. Let's start your process here. Okay. Looks quite good. As is always the case with these, there is no date on the back of the dial, but it's correct. So this is heavily oiled here, which is not what Seiko recommends. They actually recommend that jewel stay dry. So that was part of the issue we were seeing. I have a feeling the real test is under here. Let's see. Woo! Oh my! Look at that wear. It's even tipped over here. So someone tried to close the hole by tapping on it. They knew that it was round out of round, even back when they serviced it. We're going to take care of that by putting a jewel that will be forever cured. You have a bent finger on your date ring. The number 5 finger is badly bent and down into the movement. So that may mean we need a new date ring. How did that happen? Ooh, you got 2 bent. Okay, this may be not quite as fixable as I'd hope. Let's see if I can see that. Can you see those 2? Which are both quite badly bent. There's one here, one here. I may have a replacement available. Okay, that is the teardown complete. We are gonna do some very close looking at all of the components, make sure everything is the way it's supposed to be. I'm gonna check some of these jewels, these bushings very closely. This one's, it looks from the outside perhaps it's got a bit of wear, so I'm gonna put it under the microscope and really look at it closely, just to be sure. And that's a pretty essential one, so we'll have to see how that does. We'll be back with some new components, jewels here of course, and ready to start the reassembly process. Okay, we'll be back. Okay Dave, we are out of the cleaner and ready to get started. You definitely had some needs, nothing outrageous, just that the watch has, these things have a finite lifetime in terms of what Seiko intended them for, and I assume it was less than where we are now, because things wear. These were 17 jewel movements. They weren't highly jeweled. They certainly had some wear points, and one of those is, of course, the barrel arbor ports, which we've now jeweled, and that's those two jewels here, this one here and this one here. Also, these have bushings in the fourth center wheel, basically the fourth wheel and the third wheel. The third wheel isn't under a lot of stress, but the center wheel, fourth wheel pivot is actually what runs your second hand, so it's moving all the time, almost as much as the as any of the other components, and as such it can wear pretty badly. And your bushing, which is what was right here in the center, was essentially egg-shaped and probably way out of tolerance. There was so much what's called side shake that it was not worth keeping. So I went ahead and replaced that with a nice new jewel. So now you have 17, 18, 19, 20 jewels in your movement, which is a really nice upgrade. Okay, so let's get putting it back together. Okay, well that's movement running. Let's go ahead and check it and see what kind of adjustments we need to make. We'll be back. Okay, well, that's not bad. I guess jeweling does help. Very cool. All right, let's go ahead and figure out how to make our first adjustment. We're going to try and get rid of that beat error. I think I'm gonna just leave it there for a little bit, let it work itself out. Those numbers are appearing quite nice. Wow. All right, well, from a non-runner to factory, better than factory, let's say. Pretty darn good. Yep, okay. We're going to move over to the calendar side, just let this break in a little bit more, and we'll come back. Okay, well, that's your movement built. We're going to put the dial and hands back on, and then we'll come back and review everything and go over the process. All right, well, there we are. There is your very clean 6309-7049 from 1984. Looking really good, and running just phenomenal. I mean, it is not often you see a 6309 run and perform this way after seeing that much life on the wrist. But the new jewels in your arbor ports and in your train bridge actually help dramatically improve the performance of the watch. Everything else, though, is completely original. No real changes to any of the components, except for a few things that are related to that problem you had with your date ring. So I'm going to go over that now. It turns out with a lot of the issues, if you find an issue with any component, there are so many interconnected systems within a movement that a lot of times what you're seeing is the full downstream effect of that, and you have to kind of work backwards to get back upstream to the thing that is actually leading to the problem. And what that was the mechanism by which, and I thought this in the beginning, the mechanism that is utilized to set the quick day and date. And that was leading to the issues that came in, that we were trying to solve. So, with that said, let's have a look at what was replaced in the watch. Some standard things here, but also a few things that are worth noting. And we'll discuss that a little bit. So, seals, of course, that's your crown seal, and that's the seal that goes into your bezel. And that's the seal for your case back. Those are just consumable items that go bad over time. This and these two parts, those make up, this is a really intricate part. This is a really neat piece of engineering that makes the 6309 simple but yet somewhat complex. This has a set of intermeshing and rotating and sliding gears that operate the day and date corrector, so you can set the quick set on the day and date. Yours has some binding between the teeth that leads to a condition where it's really, really hard to turn, and that in turn could have been either the source or the outcome of the bent teeth on your date ring. So you can see you got two teeth here, and I was finding when I put a new date ring on, which you now have, that I was also getting binding in these gears, which is not good. So that meant that we had to replace this part, which I do have in stock, so you have a new one. This is your upper mainspring arbor port bushing, and this is your fourth wheel bushing. This, on microscopic scale, it's pretty small, but this looks like an egged out hole in the center. That's the part where your pivot for your second hand goes into the train bridge. So that has been replaced with a jewel. After all of that, we have probably the best running 6309 that I've seen in a long time. It's a really great running watch right now. So everything else we've left. Nothing changed cosmetically. I left your crystal. I cleaned everything. There was, quite a bit of arm material there. I've also cleaned your bracelet, so that has gone through the sonicator as well. Soapy water, no polishing, of course, and that'll go back on before it comes home. But it's ready to roll. All of your pieces are ready to come back. These will accompany the watch back to you, and we will get everything in a box and headed home, and you're going to be ready for another 40 plus years of service on this watch. I mean, you need to get it serviced, but it will certainly do its job for a very long time to come. And it's essentially bulletproof at this point. There's nothing really to do with the movement. All of the weak points have been eliminated, so it's just a great runner. Let's go through a little bit of function here. Make sure that everything does what it's supposed to do. And there we go. Day and date, click over, nice and smooth. Your hand alignment is right on. Let's just do the quick day and date function. There we go. Going through. No binding, no issues. Everything is just as clean as it's supposed to be. And go through the quick day. Go around to Saturday. Oops, I didn't set the date, right? It's the 10th. All right, well, that's the watch. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you get a lot of joy out of wearing it. And I thank you for trusting me with it. And thanks for watching. Okay, Dave, we actually just had an email exchange. I wanted to make sure you saw that you got your new crystal installed. So there that is, looking really great. And here's your old crystal. It's going to come home. Got your bracelet back on, so that's cleaned and ready for you to wear. Looking good. Looking good. All right. Now we are complete. Thanks.